You might have seen people do crazy things with GOO in the finals, notably the GOO planes that got very popular recently, and in this video I'm going to show you what new discoveries my friends and I made while messing around with GOO. I will start with simple things that I didn't think deserved their own video, and then I will show you the biggest discovery I made and what it allowed us to do. For example, the things you are seeing right now and even more. This is how we used GOO to break the finals. Let's start with the simpler discoveries. One day I was messing around with my friend Molo and we found out that if you put a turret on GOO and then break the GOO, the turret falls and becomes affected by physics. If you do that above a jump pad, the turret bounces off it. And if you put GOO on the turret after it has landed, it will rotate because the turret is rotating as well. But rotating GOO will not collide with walls and instead it will just phase right through the environment. I didn't realize it yet, but this is exactly what we will use later in the video to do some crazy things, but so far we will just use this bug to create giant structures that move, bounce around, phase through entire buildings and randomly get launched in the distance. I call them GOO monsters because they move and it looks like they have tentacles and stuff. But after seeing that A.L.I.S.O.N is capable of making GOO ships that actually are useful in real matches and can actually fly, I feel like a caveman banging rocks together, so let's move on to the next thing. I was playing a World Tour cash-out tournament match when a detail caught my eye. Did you see it? This pole that was attached to GOO didn't break when the GOO disappeared. Instead, it just fell all the way down to the floor, but the rope itself didn't break. I clipped it because I figured it might be useful later, and here we are. It's interesting because usually if you break anything that a zipline pole is attached to, the entire zipline breaks. But thanks to GOO, we can turn ziplines into objects affected by physics, exactly like with the turret earlier. So obviously the question is, what if both ends of a zipline fall on the ground and the rope is flat on the floor? Can you still use the zipline anyway? You can attach! You can attach! Yes, you can! That's so silly and awesome, and of course we immediately made a longer one, and that didn't disappoint either. Look how happy Marshall looks with his floor zipline. So cute! Oh yeah, do the Namatama and I film you again. Oh no! Now let's set both ends of a zipline on GOO above jump pads and break the GOO.
Get ready to destroy. Oh, an exchange.
Oh.
Hey, oh no!
Yes, that works. You can make ziplines bounce and you can still use them. Tell me in what other game this kind of goofy stuff will just work like that. I find it amazing. Like, for people like me who love glitches and weird interactions in games, the finals is the dream playground. This next discovery is one I made a few months back when I was messing around in the training range. What you are seeing right now is a clip of the moment it happened. I was messing around with GOO and a detached turret, and I noticed that the GOO almost pushed me inside a wall because of the turret's rotation. I positioned myself better and ended up getting pushed inside the wall and falling below the training range. I was immediately super excited to have found a way to go out of bounds because since the first time I played games, it's been one of my passions. I would always turn around right after spawning in a level, trying to find ways to get inside walls, falling off the map, climbing invisible walls, or finding unintended routes. So you can imagine how happy I was to have found an easy and consistent way to get out of bounds in the finals. Of course, feel free to go mess around with that bug in private matches before it gets patched, but please don't exploit it in public matches because you could get reported and you will probably get banned. Anyway, now let's do what I have been dying to show you, getting out of bounds on every single The Finals map and seeing what we will find there. The first thing I wanted to try was going inside the elevated part in the center of Skyway Stadium on the high-rise variant. First we did the turret setup at the ground level, but instead of getting pushed right through the wall or the floor, we will get pushed just below the street level but without actually falling to our death. So we were just able to glide around. And for some reason being in this slidey state causes you to hear a constant wind noise and every voice line sounds duplicated like an echo. Also, check out how silly that looks from above. You can literally only see Marshall's head popping out of the ground. It's amazing. If a player is inside the ground like this and one is above, they can even damage each other. Now, in this spot, if you go too far and reach a corner of the wall, you will get yeeted down and die. And this is exactly how I recorded all the shots from under the maps that we will see in this video, because if you die while out of bounds, your spectator camera will remain out of bounds as well, which allows you to go in crazy places that you usually never see. And that's exactly what we are gonna do. I'm going to show you a lot of shots that I took this way on every map very soon. But to stay on Skyway Stadium, the next thing we did was in the same area but higher up. So instead of being pushed down below the street, we got pushed inside the walls, which allowed us to reach this place we can safely stand on. At this point we are stuck between two invisible walls, but somehow managed to squeeze through. Using the GOO gun we started moving forward, but we soon reached a new kind of invisible wall that when touched gets you stuck in mid-air. This is literally the only spot we ever found one. The idea was to make a GOO plane and fly it within the giant elevated part of the map, but sadly that proved to be impossible and we moved on to the next area. We went near the mansion, pushed ourselves through the walls of the garden, fell under the map and made an interesting discovery. Dev cubes! We cannot know for sure what they are used for on this map and in this game, but they can be found in the out-of-bounds areas in many other games. I really love finding pieces that make up games like that, showing that actual people built this place and left some stuff over, never expecting that players will ever see them. But we did see your secret magic cubes embark. And if any of the devs working on the finals wants to leave a comment to explain the stuff I show in this video, I will happily pin it for everyone to see. Compared to Skyway Stadium, there is not much to say about Monaco, and my camera was kind of stuttery on this map for some reason. So we were able to get stuck in a few walls, but I got better ones to show you on other maps. We did find a flying spotlight stuck under the cathedral, just flying there, and I did learn that cranes go down very far below the map. But that's pretty much it for Monaco, so let's move on. This Horizon is definitely one of the best looking maps in my opinion, and that is still true when you look at it from out of bounds. The colors are amazing and the scenery kind of still works. You can see a giant black box in the distance, which is yet another top secret developer thing that players are never meant to see. And I know that there are actual Easter eggs in this game, like many of them, but for me this is even better for some reason. I love finding stuff like that so much. I was not able to find any flying object, leftover props or a single floating cube, but it's a map I spent the most time recording on because it just looks so good in general. And I think that glitching out of bounds feels especially appropriate on this map since it's basically a glitched virtual city. So maybe the map devs won't actually hate me for this video if I just say that, hey, it was just a CNS roleplay, I swear. Anyway, looking back at these clips made me think of Christopher Zetterstrand's paintings. Christopher is the person whose paintings were pixelated and then added to Minecraft. And look, this one is literally an out-of-bound perspective of a Counter-Strike map, exactly like what we are doing in the finals in this video. What a brilliant subject for painting. If you want to see more of his work, I will have his website and Twitter linked below the like button. And if you want to learn more about the making of this Horizon, Spear made an incredible video where he also interviews the developers who worked on it. The link is in the description as well. The next map is Las Vegas, and despite the fact that it looks very cool from below, there is not much to say about it. It's so flat that there is no place to glitch into because all that's going to happen is you are going to fall through the floor and die. And for a map with so many props compared to Skyway Stadium, I was expecting to see many cubes and slot machines and stuff swept under the carpet, but it's actually perfectly clean. The only thing that sticks out under the map are the button activated walls that move up and down. As you can see, they retract by going under the map, they don't just disappear or something. And look at these amazing shots. As I was asking Marshall to emote, the alien invasion event started and I captured this. It's pretty cool, but yeah, that's basically it for Vegas. Seoul was the most disappointing map in this experiment, but it's due to its layout. You can already access the out-of-bound areas in regular matches because as soon as you are in free camera mode, when you die, you can just fly around. There is no need to glitch into anything. The only thing worth noting is that I discovered a spotlight flying in the construction area, which was probably forgotten there by a developer. And finally, let's finish this video with Kyoto, which is a map with a lot of places to glitch into, so we had a lot of fun with Kine and Marshall on this one. There are many small places behind slanted terrain or stairs where you can stand on, but most of the walls will just lead you to falling to your death, so let's start with shots from under the map. Kyoto is magnificent, and I think it's also one of the prettiest maps when seen like this. Look at this shot of the giant tower. Also, just like on Horizon, we can see a black box in the distance, but this this one is much closer to us. Sadly, it's behind the blue barrier, so we still cannot reach it. Anyway, let's get back to the surface and glitch into some weird areas. The first one is the giant yellow wall between the water and the tower. Getting inside puts you in a narrow but very long corridor, and the grassy surface of the wall moves up and down when you move around, which is very trippy and I really don't like it. Fun fact, the cash boxes, vaults and cash out stations never disappear, even though the entire map starts to disappear sometimes. You can even see that cash out is moving around in the sky because it's actually on a flying platform, but the platform has disappeared, so we only see the cash out flying. This place is also the area where we tried if the turret will be able to track players in out-of-bound areas. Of course, when the player is inside a wall and the turret is outside, the turret can't see the player. But when it's the opposite and the turret is inside the wall, it can shoot players that are outside and the player will have no way of destroying it. So yeah, that means if you are fully hidden behind a wall, you will be able to damage players outside of it and they will not be able to damage you. So yeah, literally don't do this in public matches. Then we glitched into the grassy wall to get onto the other side, and it's actually possible to stand there, but there is not much room and nothing special to do compared to when we are in free cam, so we moved on to the next area. I found one below the stairs that lead to the tower. Once you are inside, you can see that the stairs are made of 3 rows of smaller stair pieces glued together, and you can just walk right through them for some reason. The ground is grassy and very uneven. It's sometimes hard to climb to the next level, and just like everywhere else, you can shoot things that are on the other side. Weirdly enough, when Kain and his horrible skin was standing behind a visible part of the staircase, that part would block bullets. But as soon as I walked inside the stairs and made them disappear, I was able to shoot him again. I have been hunting bugs and glitches in video games for many years, and I am always super happy to make videos on that subject. If you enjoyed it, it would mean a lot to me if you left me a comment to tell me what you thought about it, and maybe tell me what you would like to see on my channel. More videos are coming, so don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.